think that you know, the goodwill that they've built up behind that name and that brand, I don't know what you call it, the brand, I don't know, the economics of the brand, like the brand goodwill, that they're actually dissolving that in front of their very eyes. It's kind of like, I feel like they're
brand
going...
Equity.
The brand equity. That's what I was
You
thinking.
threw me there for a second.
Equity, I know it's on the balance sheet.
Right.
I haven't forgotten all my finance, but the brand equity, it feels to me like they're actually trouncing on it and going backwards.
I believe that they are, and I believe wholeheartedly it's the foundation of what we do right now. I believe wholeheartedly that the companies that understand this shift in communication I was talking about aren't going to do things like that. They're going to talk in real, relevant terms as if they were talking to a neighbor. They're going to form a relationship with them. That relationship will build trust. They will become one with their customer. They'll become the friend of their customer because we listen to our friends, right?
Right.
And they'll speak to them in a way about things that matter to them, and they'll just be very real about the communication, and that will be the way. But there are people trying lots of different ways to make this happen, to make that impact.
Here's another topic I'd like to bring up. It has to do with Generation Y. I'm involved in a research project as a participant for about 6 months on Generation Y and how to communicate with them. So the 20 and unders, so to speak. That's definitely changing the way people are going to communicate their brands going forward, because Generation Y doesn't really watch TV. They text message, you know, about 1,500 messages a month. I don't know how they type with their fingers, but
cell phone bill,
get on the phone. It's a lot faster.
Right.
But Generation Y is a very different kind of generation to deal with, and there's about 70 million of them coming up and will be, or they're being the people that we're marketing to today. How is that changing what companies are going to have to do with their brands? You're not going to reach them through the TV. They're not going to watch Super Bowl ads on TV. They're going to watch them on their iPod.
On demand, right.
Whenever they want. They pick what they want to do. In fact, I read something about where they actually, when they want to buy something, they read it in the print media, they go online and they buy it. They bypass a lot of the media that advertises to them. So how are you addressing that with your clients?
You know what,
That's a whole new program too.
It is actually. It's going to be about social networking. It's going to be about reaching out through alternative mediums. It's going to be about word of mouth and how to create a word of mouth buzz using some of the network-centric marketing avenues that are available out there, whether they're blogs or chat boards or utilizing video on YouTube or Google Video, in order to get the message out. The next round of consumers is going to drive this concept of real communication. They don't care for your message. They're not interested in your marketing speak, and they will tune you out so fast because they can, that you will never get to them through traditional means. You've got to form a relationship with them and build trust. And you do that, they're so smart, you're never going to pull the wool over their eyes. By the time they get to the point where they're really controlling a lot of dollars, they will be so savvy to these marketing and advertising techniques that it will really only be the people who are very real and very focused on their needs and their concerns that will connect with them. Have you
done any YouTube videos for clients yet, and do you see that coming in the coming months?
You know what, we actually have done some YouTube work.
Excellent.
And we've advised we work with several different companies. We've advised several companies on how to do that. We've traveled around the United States meeting with people who are looking to introduce, I'll call it social networking components into their marketing campaigns. And what's funny is they always start with this concept of, I want to create this really entertaining, really slick, they want to do a television commercial that they post on YouTube.
Right.
And in the end, they're missing the point of the media. The medium is there. It's very raw. Something done with a half the time we're recommending just use a camcorder because it's very genuine that way. You believe what you see that someone filmed at their house. You don't buy what it is you see that's very slick and overproduced. It's going to change video advertising forever.
Yes, it will, and it brings the cost down to like less than $20 to produce a video.
And you know what it does is this whole seeing is believing concept. It'd be one thing to talk, for instance, about a vehicle and how we've got this 5-point safety program and it helps your car not roll over, something like that. And totally another thing to go onto YouTube and say, here's your car without our product, tumbling through space, and here's our car with, edging around the corner. And that video is compelling. That will sell stabilization systems.
Absolutely. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's really exciting. Are a lot of the clients that coming into you now, are they bringing up the concept of Gen Y and what are we going to do?
You know, they're not so focused. It's funny, clients are always focused on the medium, it seems, before the target.
Oh, okay.
Our job is to get them to turn around and focus on who it is they want to talk to.
Right.
But they come in asking, you know, what are blogs all about? And how can
What's a blog?
What's a blog?
I get that one a lot.
and how can I use one to, or I have a blog, and how come it's not doing what I want it to do? How can I use social networking or social media? We call it network-centric marketing. How can I use these new tools, blogs, wikis, forums, podcasts, video? How can I use that to grow business? And usually our conversation says, well, okay, what exactly when you say grow business, what do you mean? And who are we really talking to? And then we have to turn it around and get into the heads of those people and see what they want, and then that drives the medium rather than the other way around.
What's the popularity with some of your clients with blogging and podcasting? Those are two areas I absolutely love. Are people coming to you more and more about that and requesting that as part of their branding campaign?
Yes. In the last 2 weeks, I bet I've had 3 sort of requests from clients to bring them up on the finer arts of podcasting.
Oh, great.
And again, they're very focused on how am I going to make it?
Right.
How are we going to produce
Right.
it? And I'm like, no, that's not where you want to be. You want to be.
I do them in like 5 minutes at home with a mic.
That's right. I said it's all about content. It's all
Right.
about the message. It's all about your customer's pain. I'm getting a lot of requests for utilizing things like this. It's funny.
great.
I was online and I was looking at, I can't remember what it was on. I do a lot of blog reading myself, and I saw an ad on there, and it said Madison Avenue wouldn't recognize a real blog if it jumped on its lap and peed on him. And it's a commentary on the companies that actually work there. And it's true. There's the blog, but then there's a real blog, and a real blog is that personal voice, and the one that's very genuine. It's not overproduced, and so anyways, I try and take all these conversations and turn them in that direction.
Yeah, I think blogs and podcasts are so exciting. I think everybody should do one.
It's
As long as they're 10 minutes or less.
Right.
Because they only have so much time to listen to them.
we do blog postings on our website. We don't do any podcasts. I think that would be a lot of fun. Maybe this will become a podcast one day. But the blog postings are neat. We try and, when we write them, we do them all in a single draft. There's no editing back and forth. I have copywriters, you know, it could be a phenomenally produced piece, but it just loses that personal edge. But it's a neat, I think of them as rants, you know, when I ever give someone an assignment to actually do a posting, say, I just want you to do a rant on this subject. Everything you feel, really what really makes you excited, what really makes you angry, and I want it all in there. Just hit on that. And that's when they really come out powerful. It's great communication, a great medium for it.
Just real quick on the subject of word of mouth, just a few seconds on this. Isn't it interesting how with all the technology, it's really coming full circle back to the conversation between two people?
It really is. And a lot of that conversation, companies are very interested in that as well. It's taking place on message boards. There are even search engines now that are specializing in searching message boards. So you can go out and find out what people are saying an hour after the story hits the news.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, word of mouth is going to be the future for sure. The more you can become a part of that dialogue, it's one of the reasons people are doing this social networking thing. They're trying to put themselves in the center of the conversation that's happening in their industry. Because to understand that word of mouth communication is to really control it and to be able to use it.
David, and to kind of wrap some of this up, what is your advice to entrepreneurs as it relates to branding?
My advice to entrepreneurs. There's a truism. I have it on my website. I often share it with people. It goes, look good, sound good, sell more. And the concept is pretty simple. My advice to them is spend as much as they believe they can afford on their brand. It is the very first thing that a person will see when they meet you. It is the very last thing they will take away after you part, and it will do all the talk for you. In your absence, make sure it says what you want it to say.
That's outstanding advice. That's wonderful.
Thank you.
I've really enjoyed learning about more about branding and your company, Moncur Associates, based in Troy, the business communication experts. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Thanks, it's been a lot of fun.
If you'd like more information about Michigan Entrepreneur, please visit our website at www.michiganentrepreneurtv.com. Please join me again in the future when I interview another enterprising entrepreneur. Until then, wishing you the best business.